the quest for an autonomous, functional, and corrupt-free local government system in Nigeria is not just a constitutional matter, it is a developmental imperative. Since the country returns to democratic rules in 1999, the idea of granting local government full autonomy has remained both a promise and a challenge. While financial autonomy has been or have received significant judicial affirmation, including the recent Supreme Court judgment, it remains only one piece of a larger, more complex puzzle. The reality today is that financial autonomy alone has not translated into effective governance or independence at local level. The root problems is far more systematic, involving deep-seated political interference, weak institutional structures, poor accountability mechanism, and pervasive corruption that we all see in the local government operations. Local government system in many states has been reduced to a mere extension of state governors' powers, with local officials obtained beholden to state governors rather than to their own constituents. You got many local governments in Nigeria, but practically nothing happens except when it is time for salary. You will see everybody coming. So the level of laziness you will see in local government will make the grassroots development that we are all agitating for, that we are all yearning for. And if you do not have grassroots development, Nigerians will continue to suffer and swallow in abject poverty, lack of even basic infrastructure, because at local level, people begin to master even governance. And when you eliminate and destroy that tiers of government, it will be extremely difficult for people to learn and be able to be effective and efficient and be able to be a better administrators or even policy makers. Because at grassroots level, you will be able to do a lot in terms of ensuring that effectively you have trained manpowers that will not only serve at local government level, but also will experience, with the experience they gather, they can go to the state level and be able to participate in governance. And then from the state, they can also be able to graduate to go to the national level to participate in the democratic governance. But what you see in Nigeria now, you see people who have no idea of governance, who have never worked anywhere, because many of them, they have dirty money, or they have the so-called godfathers. They will even not even try to participate at state level. They will want to come to federal level to become senator or House of Rep or even ministers with zero experience and zero governance, skill. This is the reason why we continue to suffer as a result of poor governance training and skills that we have in Nigeria. Because if you empower people at grassroots level to learn and understand the act of governance, to be more efficient and effective, to be more transparent and responsible, if they come to the state, they will perfect that very well. And when they come to the federal level, there will be, there will not be any confusion on roles and responsibility and, responsible, roles that they are supposed to play. But because there was no any opportunity at the grassroots level for people to understand and experience even this democracy that we are talking about, people just, because they have dirty money, they just capture power and they become seat warmers. Many of them, the purpose you see them in power is not for service. It's not for helping to strengthen democracy. It is to accumulate, resources, have more powers to exercise impunity. We have to change this. And the only way to change this is to ensure that at the local government level, people take serious. Why can't we have PhD holders, professors, experienced civil servants to vie for position in local government. You would have changed the quality of that tier of government. But now, what you have now is merely appointment by powerful governors. They decided and determine who becomes local government chair. And by extension, you're supposed to also have, local council, governance, legislative council at grassroots level, at local government level. That one appears not even function at all, because local government chairmen largely receive directive from the governors on what they should do. No discussion, no debate, no need assessment of the various communities that the councillors are representing. So we need to do a lot to change the way and manner in which we take democracy and grassroots democracy in Nigeria. Otherwise, we will continue just to be plotting this democracy, which is now backsliding, because the drivers of the democracy in Nigeria at local, state, and national level appears not to be in tandem with democratic tenets in this country. Many people did not even believe in free and fair and credible election. They just believe that they have the money, they probably can procure judicial judgment, or they can even procure security support or use their talks to capture power, not on the basis of popular election. So we have a lot of work to do. Now that we have financial autonomy to the local government, we must ensure that we insist on accountability. We must insist on strengthening system and structures, because the kind of huge amount of money that is going into local government, you cannot afford to just let it just to go. And then people don't have water. Even the primary school that they are supposed to be responsible for ensuring that it is effective and efficient is not happening. Even creating, agricultural, support to ensure that we have food in this country is also suffering. And how will you even defeat insecurity if the local government is not working? Because in local government, that's where you find all those, insecurity, hiding and growing. So there's need to ensure that we as citizens, we pay more attention to the local governance. If we don't pay attention to the local governance, even the insecurity we are talking about, the food, security we are talking about, it will just be a mere talk show. So I'm calling on Nigerians to make themselves available to ensure that they support grassroots local governance in Nigeria. This will help in strengthening our democracy and strengthening accountability and improve participation, because democracy is about participation. And when people are not participating, then you're actually, representing yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, appointment, election, budgetary allocation, and contract award at local government level are obtained directed by the state actors. In some cases, elected local government council have been replaced with unelected caretaker committees for extended period in violation of the Constitution. These practices not only violate the principle of democracy and federalism, but also sabotage development at the grassroots level, where impact of governance should be more felt. At CISLA and across civil society organization work, we continue to engage in advanced and evidence-based advocacy, public sensitization, and legislative engagement to reform the local government system. Civil society organizations across Nigeria are partnering with communities, monitoring public finance flows, and demanding transparency on how local governments utilize public resources. We are supporting whistleblowers' protection, building citizens' capacity to track budgets, and pushing for legal reforms that close those gaps and loopholes that used to undermine local government independence. Indeed, situation calls for holistic reforms agenda. Therefore, we itemize the following: legal reforms to unambiguously guarantee political, administrative, and fiscal autonomy for local government. If we are serious about deepening democracy and strengthening democratic institutions in Nigeria, we must canvass a reforms that will deal with both political, legal, administrative, and financial system in local governments in Nigeria. Institutional reforms that reinforces accountability through transparent budgetary, procurement, and citizen participation. Thirdly, electoral reforms that ensure credibility or ensure credible local election free from manipulation or state interference or even state managing the election. You conduct election, you have a very contentious local political parties in a state or in local government, and when they conduct that election, the ruling party in that state will clinch all the position, councillor, local government, everything. This kind of mad democratic winner-take-alls need to stop. We need to be doing election with free, fair, and credible, and allow political competition and contestation. There are many states, once there's local government elections in their state, it is only their party that will win. Whether it is ABGA, whether it is a Labour Party, whether it is a PDP, whether it is FEC, they are all the same. Don't deceive yourself, they are all the same. There's no difference between any of these political parties. And that is why we are also calling for reforms of political party system in Nigeria, because we don't have opportunity for independent candidates in this country. It is only through political party that you can emerge as, and contest election. And therefore, we must make sure that we reform this political party where internet democracy is absent, where it is more of like, financed by the governor in the case of state, and in the case of national level, it is the president that is the father and the mother of the party. This kind of lack of democracy in the party system continue to create legal tussle, because during the convention, you don't see genuine party convention. And at the end of the day, they end up with court cases, because internet democracy, participation, in the party appears, even ownership of the party appears, is absent. Ideally, if you have a political party should be collecting due from members who subscribe to the idea of that party. We know in the Second Republic, people were actually paying dues, members. So you feel they are honored, you have ownership. You can actually demand for accountability, and you can insist on democratic, election in that party. But a situation whereby it is only the governor who will finance everything and his cronies, therefore dictating who becomes senator, dictating who becomes House of Rep, dictating who becomes local government chairman, and even dictating who becomes an ambassador, because the president probably will consult the governor to give nomination for who should be a DG, who should be. So the governors are too powerful in Nigeria. We have to dismantle and disrupt this manipulative tendency that we have that hijack true democratic participation in Nigeria, if we really want to continue to have democracy in place. Ladies and gentlemen, the other thing that we also call for is empowering traditional institutions and local civil society to play a constructive role in local governance. Our traditional rulers, many of them are still being respected in this country. If there's any katakata, the government will always look for them to come and talk to the people. And therefore, there's need to give them responsibility, and not also to have the kind of artificial crisis that some people in government are creating. For example, where we all know the constitution is very clear, the state's governors has a responsibility of the traditional institution. Now, we're having a situation where you are having federal emir deploying all sorts of security apparatus to a illegitimate federal emir to cause chaos when you are supposed to be ensuring that you demilitarize, you create peaceful atmosphere. some people that are responsible for this kind of action in government should please note that we did not have opportunity or time or resources to be creating artificial trouble. Already the trouble that we have is overwhelming. Just this week, we received numerous number of people killed in Benue. It has been going on between Benue, Niger, Kaduna, Zamfara, Sokoto, and even to some extent in Kebbi and Kaduna. This is going on. Not to talk of the southeast, where some non-state actors have taken law into their hands, doing all sorts of things that they like. Our security are overwhelmed. The looters are too many. So EFCC, ICPC are not having opportunity to even sleep because they are busy every day. Because the looters, if you take away the role that EFCC, ICPC is playing in this country, will be in trouble. No matter how imperfect situations are, if you remove them, like some governors went to court to say that they don't want EFCC and ICPC in their state, so that there will be proper democratization of looting in that state. We stood our ground as civil society groups to insist that such evil idea must not scale through. And we thank the Supreme Court for standing with Nigerian people to debunk